In the hot July, several men in black suits and sunglasses appeared suddenly in a melon field. One of them had a fainting child in his hand. Several people secretly threw the child in a melon shed and pulled a broken gauze net to cover the child's body. One of the thinner men looked anxiously and said, "The children of this Song family won't die here, will they?" "Whatever." The leading man said carelessly, "Anyway, we have completed the task arranged by the boss. Whether he is dead or alive is none of our business." So the thin man stopped talking. Several people in black got into a car without license plate and sped away. Chu Tianxuan only felt cool on his face. He opened his eyes dimly and found a man holding a cold little watermelon. After cooling his hand, he pasted it on his forehead. Chu Tianxuan wiped his face and staggered to his feet. The little girl in front of him was about 6 or 7 years old. She was wearing 2 double ponytails from left to right and was looking at him timidly. Where am I?" Chu Tianxuan felt dizzy. The servant picked him up from school. The car stopped halfway. After that, his eyes were dark. Then he came here. This is the country," the little girl said timidly. "She is wearing a nice little white skirt and exquisite leather sandals. She may not be a countryman. Do you know where there is a telephone booth nearby?" Although Chu Tianxuan was very embarrassed, he looked like a small adult. The little girl blinked. Her long eyelashes flashed twice, then stretched out her hand and pointed in one direction. Chu Tianxuan looked at him. When he turned back, the little girl had turned and ran away. Chu Tianxuan only saw a red birthmark on the back of her head. In the twinkling of an eye, 15 years have passed. "I'm sorry, Mr. Chu, it's not the person you're looking for this time." The First Avenue of Daidu, the most central building in the business district, and the president's office on the 26th floor of Shengtian Group. A handsome man was standing in front of the French window, holding up the phone's hand and suddenly clenched it hard. Since he came of age and worked in his own Shengtian Group, he has been using all his strength to find the woman. Chu Tianxuan even felt that his behavior was even like a pervert. As long as he saw a woman of the right age, he couldn't help asking if she was the person who saved himself from the kidnappers in the melon shed. But the little girl, who smiled very good-looking and simple, disappeared into the vast sea of people and couldn't be found all over. "President Chu, I'm ready." The door of the office was knocked open, and the man with gold-rimmed glasses stood respectfully at the door. "Everyone who interviewed your assistant has arrived." "Okay, I'll be right there." Chu Tianxuan nodded and sorted out his expression. "Let them in." The Minister of Human Resources immediately ordered him to leave. A moment later, a girl dressed enchanting was taken into Chu Tianxuan's office. The pungent perfume quickly filled the whole office, and Chu Tianhan frowned, then said, "Introduce yourself." "Hello, President. My name is Wang Weiwei," the woman immediately said in a charming voice. "I have always admired Shengtian Group, especially the president of Shengtian, that is, you, President Chu. I would be honored to be your assistant today." Chu Tianxuan felt his head was big. "I read your resume. There's nothing else on it except your photos. What do you know?" "I can give you coffee, I can make coffee, and I can help you iron your clothes and clean up your papers." The woman immediately pricked her red lips and put up a finger with bright red nail polish, counting one by one. "Okay." Chu Tianxuan said helplessly, "I see, next." "Hey, President Chu? I can also play with you, or..." "Hey." Chu Tianxuan sighed. It was the 3rd day of the interview. Why couldn't he find a suitable assistant? "Hello, Mr. Chu, my name is Li Dawei. I graduated from Tsinghua University. My usual hobbies are reading, playing ball and singing. Well, good. Chu Tianxuan smiled and looked at the man in sportswear in front of him. Do you know that you need to wear formal clothes for the interview? Sorry, formal dress is not my style. Next. Hello, President. I meet all the requirements of your recruitment conditions, but I have a small request. Can I bring my hairball to work? Mao Tuan is very cute and sensible. What is Mao Tuan? Chu Tianxuan held his forehead. It's a little snake I raised. In the past morning, Chu Tianxuan couldn't care to be angry and was full of helplessness. President Chu, why don't you eat first? The Minister of Human Resources stood beside Chu Tianxuan with a look of embarrassment. Is there anyone else? Chu Tianxuan collapsed weakly in his chair. He almost gave up the idea of looking for an assistant. There's one left. Before the Human Resources Minister finished, a tall girl came in. Chu Tianxuan jumped in his heart for no reason, but many years later he knew that the jump represented the palpitation of his heart, not as he thought now, hungry. Introduce yourself. Chu Tianxuan sat upright. Hello, my name is Jiang Shenner. The girl's voice is very light, with a little fear in her eyes, but her temperament is very confident. I am a graduate student majoring in finance from S University. When the girl finished, she looked at Chu Tianxuan blankly. And then? Chu Tianxuan thought there were too many wonderful flowers he met this morning. I've already written it in my resume. Jiang Shenner looked at Chu Tianxuan innocently. Chu Tianxuan just wanted to say that you can go, but he was amazed when he opened his resume. It's not how excellent she is. Chu Tianxuan has seen many excellent people, but her resume is as clean as hers. Chu Tianxuan has seen her for the first time. In the resumes he has seen many people who want to hide their past, but they will still reveal clues from the details. In particular, Shengtian Group will mark the parts that are inconsistent with the resume. But Jiang Shenner, clean and innocent. Why did you come to Shengtian Group? Chu Tianxuan asked. My friend introduced me because I need a job. Jiang Shenner answered straightforwardly. Chu Tianxuan felt choked. He coughed and asked again. Do you think you are qualified for this job? I don't think I can. I don't think so, but I'll try my best. Jiang Shenner looked at Chu Tianxuan's eyes carefully. Why? Why do you feel incompetent? If you are not competent, why do you come for an interview? Chu Tianxuan took a deep breath and endured his temper. Because my major is finance, it doesn't say how to be a good assistant to the president. And I have to work here because I need a job. To put it bluntly. You need money? Chu Tianxuan almost laughed. That's right. Jiang Shenner nodded seriously. Not everyone is as rich as you. I think it's normal to need money. How much do you know about the corporate culture of our company? Chu Tianxuan changed the direction of his question. Not very well, but I'll get to know it as soon as possible. Jiang Shenner replied. So you came to Shengtian Group just for money? Chu Tianxuan asked. Yes. Jiang Shenner nodded seriously. Chu Tianxuan was stunned. He met countless interviewers who said that they admired the company's culture and its status. But it was the first time for Chu Tianxuan to come only for money and be so honest. Well, as long as I give you money, you will provide the company with everything I need. Chu Tianxuan spoke again. I still have a bottom line. Jiang Shenner's tone suddenly became sharp. She straightened her waist and seemed to say that I wouldn't give in. Chu Tianxuan couldn't help laughing. Well, you're hired. Jiang Xianer stared at Chu Tianxuan. Then stood up and bowed, "Thank you, boss. Let's go and have dinner." Chu Tianxuan got up and gentlemanly extended his hand to Jiang Xianer. 4. Why? Jiang Xianer looked at Chu Tianxuan in surprise and even took a step back subconsciously. Chu Tianxuan was helpless. As an assistant and president, it's nothing to have dinner together. Jiang Xianer still looked frightened at Chu Tianxuan and looked like, "Do you want to rule me?" In the Western restaurant downstairs, Chu Tianxuan sat in the most hidden position with Jiang Xianer. Chu Tianxuan's VIP seat. "Mr. Chu, is it still the same?" The waiter politely served the menu. "Yes." Chu Tianxuan nodded. "And the lady?" Jiang Xianer picked up the menu. She knew the mixed Chinese and English words on it, but when combined, she didn't know what it meant. "Just like this gentleman." She closed the menu and nodded to the waiter. "Do you live with your parents now?" Chu Tianxuan took a sip of water and asked. "Well, yes, it is." Jiang Xian's son was stunned for a moment, and then asked, "What about you?" "Me too." There was an awkward silence at the dinner table. Chu Tianxuan remembered that the investigation report did not mention the situation of Jiang Xian's children's parents. It seems that someone should check it. A meal was very embarrassing. Jiang Xianer felt that the president in front of him always asked some strange questions, but Chu Tianxuan felt that the little girl was really unable to talk with her. But somehow, her flickering eyelashes always make people feel familiar. "It seems I've seen it somewhere. Sorry, I have something to do. I have to go first." After dinner, Chu Tianxuan looked at his mobile phone and frowned. "Okay, Mr. Chu, it's all right. You'll be busy first," Jiang Xianer said politely. When Chu Tianxuan left, she looked at the dishes on the table and called the waiter. "Pack." "Are you sure?" "Yes, pack it up, pack it all, and his job." Jiang Xianer pointed to Chu Tianxuan's cut steak and said. Then in the surprised eyes of the waiter, Jiang Xianer went out with the packing box and got on the bus. Drive towards the hospital. Jiang Xianer sat in his office chair and observed Chu Tianxuan's expression not far away. This seems to be a very cold man, but somehow, she can always think of the man's simple face, although she doesn't know why she thinks so. "Look what I do." The third peeping was found. Jiang Xianer lowered his head and retracted behind the computer screen. He said weakly, "Sorry, Mr. Chu, I'm distracted." As a top financial student graduated from S University, she doesn't like to pour coffee and sort out documents every day. However, in order to have a job to make money, in order to use the money, come and pour me a cup of coffee. Chu Tianxuan picked up a phone call, got up from behind his desk, and then walked to the window. But before the call was over, there was a "pa" sound behind him. Sure enough, the worry happened. Although the girl was sweet and cute, and her expression was obedient, when she became his secretary on the first day, she poured his coffee on a contract worth $7 million. "Do you know how long you have to work for me to be worth the contract?" Chu Tianxuan looked at the man who was trembling and apologizing, and his anger suddenly jumped higher. He disliked this submissive attitude most, as if he were a tyrant. "Sorry, Mr. Chu, I'll dry it for you." Jiang Xianer's tears were coming out. She shook her hands to wipe the coffee on the table and apologized in a trembling voice. "Seeing the alarm clock on the table, I suddenly remembered that it was the time for the doctor to check my mother every day." Then, Jiang Xianer was distracted. And the coffee cup fell directly on Chu Tianxuan's desk. Chu Tianxuan didn't speak. He just walked over and stretched out his hand to pick up the woman's chin. On the delicate little face, the woman's eye circles have been red, and the long eyelashes tremble, which is very distressing. Chu Tianxuan suddenly remembered that the little girl who saved herself at the age of 7 also had such long eyelashes. My anger suddenly dissipated. Do you think you dress like a schoolgirl? Chu Tianxuan let go of Jiang Xian'er, took 2 steps back. Looked at her up and down, and even a little smile appeared on her face. Ah! Jiang Xian'er was stunned by Chu Tianxuan's rapid turn, and then his face turned red. She was introduced by her friend to Shengtian Group as an assistant to the vice president. It was just her first day. Without any work experience, she just casually wears a shirt, jeans and sneakers. I'm sorry. Jiang Xian'er bowed his head and didn't know what to say. Send another cup of coffee to the conference room later. Chu Tianxuan couldn't see Jiang Xian'er's frightened appearance. He frowned and walked towards the door. 10 minutes later, the meeting room on the 24th floor was full of people. This meeting was presided over by Chu Tianxuan, president of Shengtian Group, and his father, Chu Keifu, chairman of Shengtian Group, would also attend. However, Chu Tianxuan's original serious mood was angry again. 5 minutes after the meeting, Jiang Xian'er knocked on the door of the conference room. She is wearing a pink suit and skirt she doesn't know where to get. The gaudy collar is estimated to have been adjusted by some senior in the company, and the big mug with coffee in her hand is more vulgar than the pink of her clothes. It also says Hello Kitty. Jiang Xian'er walked to Chu Tianxuan like walking on thin ice under the gaze of dozens of eyes in the office, carrying coffee and stepping on 13 centimeters high heels he had never worn, and gently put a mug full of coffee in front of him. Mr. Chu, your coffee. Chu Tianxuan was so dark that he almost fainted. What the hell do you think? After the meeting, Chu Tianxuan blocked Jiang Xian'er in the stairwell. Jiang Xian'er's tears filled his eyes again. I'm going to deliver you coffee as you ordered. Did I tell you to draw Hello Kitty's cup with a pink one? Chu Tianxuan got stuck when he said this. After all, he didn't tell Jiang Xian'er what kind of cup she should bring him coffee. But is there no common sense? Chu Tianxuan bit his teeth and patted the wall around Jiang Xian'er. Yes, Waldong. Their faces were almost close to each other. Jiang Xian's eyelashes were drooping and their eyelashes trembled. Chu Tianxuan's heart softened again. Do not know why. Forget it, that's it. Next time you're not sure, ask me. Chu Tianxuan then turned and left. Jiang Xian'er stood rigidly by the wall. The morning passed quickly. During the lunch break, Jiang Xian'er and the employees of the company went to the staff restaurant on the 3rd floor for dinner. The staff restaurant of Shengtian Group is of good quality. It is said that many people come to eat for the good food here. Jiang Xian'er filled a few dishes he liked, and silently sat in the corner and ate them. After all, on the first day, she didn't know her place, and she wasn't the kind of person she knew. Hello. Who's in charge? Get out of here. But before Jiang Xian took a few bites, the calm 3-story restaurant was attracted by a burst of arrogant shouting and scolding. A pudgy man with a beer belly and several tall men in black sunglasses broke into the 3rd-floor restaurant. Jiang Xian'er chewed his food and made an appearance that it was none of his business to see the excitement. During lunchtime, most employees eat in the 3rd-floor restaurant. But for a moment, the whole restaurant was silent, and no one stood up to be responsible. Yes. What's up? Finally, the manager in charge of the restaurant walked over from the back kitchen. Are you in charge? I'll ask you. My batch of goods arrived on the 18th, but now it's the 28th. I haven't seen a shadow at all. What's going on? The pudgy man pointed at the restaurant manager's nose and yelled. Well, I'm just the manager of the restaurant. I can't manage this. The restaurant manager stepped back. Do you have to find someone in the goods department? Before saying anything, a man in a suit with glasses immediately raised his head from the plate, swallowed the food hard, and then said, the goods department is only responsible for receiving internally. This still needs to find the commerce department. We just contact and accept the payment for goods. For specific matters, we'll go to the planning department to see how they arrange it. A little woman answered at once, as if afraid of being beaten when she finished. The planning department is only responsible for the overall arrangement, and we don't know the specific matters. A fat man got up and wiped the sweat on his head. None of you are fucking responsible? After listening for a long time, the short and fat man was even more unhappy. He waved his big hand and shouted again, are you playing the ball here one by one and playing me like a fool? Who is your president? Let Chu Tianxuan come out to see me. The restaurant was quiet for a while, and then a little girl who looked like the front desk said weakly, you can make an appointment to meet President Chu. Get out. I want to see him now. The pudgy man shouted again. Do you know how much money I have lost because my goods have been delayed for so long? Will you compensate me for the money? How much less did you earn? In the corner of the restaurant, a clear female voice sounded. The pudgy man was stunned. And everyone looked at the place where the voice sounded. Jiang Xian's son Shi Ren got up and put down the cup with orange juice in his hand. You? Who are you? The short and fat man looked at Jiang Xianer warily. I only talk to the person in charge of this matter. I'm Jiang Xianer. Jiang Xianer thought about it and added, General Chu's assistant. She didn't want to take care of it, but somehow, Jiang Xian felt a pang of heartache when she remembered Chu Tianxuan frowning at the computer screen. Therefore, she doesn't want people to bully Chu Tianxuan's company. Then she walked slowly over. So, who are you? Dong Tao, General Manager of Dahua Construction Company. The pudgy man subconsciously reached for his business card, but he put his hand down again. Well, Manager Dong. If you have anything to do, just say it here. Jiang Xianer stood 2 steps away from Manager Dong and looked at each other seriously. I want to speak directly to the person in charge. Manager Dong looked at Jiang Xianer disdainfully, call your person in charge out. If you don't say what you have, how do we know who is in charge? Jiang Xianer's tone was severe. Then call Yu Chu Zong out. Manager Dong stared at Jiang Xianer. If everyone who makes trouble like this can see President Chu, then our place is not a company. It will become a charity. Jiang Xianer stared back without showing weakness. If anything, please speak as soon as possible. Anyway, the security guard will come in 5 minutes. No matter what you do or nothing, whose fault is it? As long as you make trouble in Shengtian Group's company, we won't let it go easily.